For a while I've explored formats that go beyond full frame, both in 4x5 and medium format film photography. As much as I love the whole process that goes with film, I've been very curious as to the new digital offerings like the Fuji GFX 50S Mark II. Fuji were nice enough to lend me one for a few days, so I packed up the van, headed up north, and went to a national park for a few days to put the camera through its paces. So looking back, if I'm honest, I fell in love with this camera within the first dozen shots I fired off. I've been a fan of medium format for a long time, but to have such convenience with medium format is a really special thing to have in your hand. Of course you have the 50 megapixel medium format sensors. There's a ton of information in the images, but it's how that information is distributed, especially through some of the film emulation settings that Fuji have built in, but also the highlight roll-off, how it handles underexposure, and just the distribution of that information is very, very impressive. I wanted to shoot in some high contrast environments like this tree tunnel to see what could I pull back in the shadows, what could I retain in the highlights, and what could you do with the image non-destructively to get the most out of all the information that's present. And I was hugely impressed with the usable dynamic range that the camera has. Not only that, it's not any bigger or heavier than any other DSLR or mirrorless full-frame camera that I've used recently. I had the standard kit lens with it, which is by no means one of their high-end lenses, and even with that, the images I got out of this camera still blew me away. Traveling around the national park with such a camera was great, but I kept coming back to a couple of shots I took before I'd even left Los Angeles. This one shot of a coat hanger in my hallway with one of the film emulation settings turned on just really looks fantastic. And this shot of just a vintage Mercedes in traffic, I'm not sure if I could have captured this in the same way with any other format of camera. I didn't have too much time with the 50S, but the time I did have, it completely changed my expectation for my camera. Now knowing that this standard of image exists out there, with all the creative choices you have with 50 megapixel and medium format, it's going to be hard to pick up anything else.